Hey there, guys. How you doing? Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I did. Stayed in town. I didn't go and see my family or anything, but I was able to have Thanksgiving with some friends. Had a great time. So hope everyone else had the same. Had a great Thanksgiving. So here we are back at the Jeep. Got my oil sending unit in. So we're going to put that in tonight and see if it fixes the oil pressure problem. So here we go. New oil sending unit. Looks pretty familiar to the one that we took off. Except we got different size fitting on here. So I think we can probably get a reducer. It'd probably be a lot quicker than trying to return this and trying to find the exact same one. I think we can make this one work. I think we're gonna go get a reducer, just a brass or copper reducer. We'll change that and we'll make that the right size. I think that'll be the easiest way to do this. I guess here we go. Let's throw it in a bag. Throw it in a bag. Let's go get the right fitting. Here, we got everything back. I think this will work quite well. Let's get this out of the bag here. Bada bing. So, from what I can tell you here, this is going to be an 1/8 inch pipe, and this is 1/4 inch pipe. So we needed to go from 1/4 to 1/8. That's what we got for an adapter. So with that, we're going to put some Teflon tape on here. I'm sort of a bigger fan of the Schmoo, the liquefied thread sealant, but I don't have any of that right now, so we're going to use just standard Teflon tape. A lot of you guys probably know, but when you put this on, you don't want to put it on the wrong way, you want to put it on the right way. There is a right and a wrong. I'll show you. This is the wrong way. You spin this around here, tear off. When you put it on, you see that's where the seam went. It went this way from underneath. And if you go in here and you thread this on, like this, you thread it on, you can see it all just starts to come off. That is the wrong way to put on Teflon tape. So the right way, put this on the right way, we want it to tear in the direction we're going to tighten it up. So with that, we're going to put it on this way. And you only need to put 1 or 2 revolutions of this on here. You don't have to put a lot on. So there we got 1.5. Plenty. Tear it off. Now when I tighten that piece on, guess what? I'm going to actually tighten the Teflon tape down on the threads. Here, we're going to put this guy on. Put that on there. And lastly, we're going to put a little Teflon tape. This little guy. Now when in this instance, I'm not going to do it just for the, well, I guess not just for the case that this is small or much smaller than what this is, but with this you can't put a wrench on this and tighten it into the block. Will not go into the block. So I'm going to put this together. I'm going to gently put this in the vise, and I'm going to thread this into this. And then when I go into the engine, these two are already tight together. I'll still put the wrench here, and I'll be able to thread it into the block there. In some instances, if it would work out better, I could just leave it like this. This is finger tight into here, and I could still just tighten this in. Whatever's the loosest, in the beginning it's going to be that. That'll snug up tight, and then this you can still tighten up and snug it in tight into here. But I'd be afraid, because this is much smaller, that when I tighten this into here, that this might break off here. So you gotta, you gotta take that into consideration. So I'm gonna snug this into this, gently putting this in the vise. I'm gonna tighten this in, and then I'll be able to go to the engine block, and from here I can tighten this into the block. So with that, I'm going to do that. I'm going to tighten this up together, and then I'll see you guys over at the Jeep when we put this inside. So here we go. The oil pressure gauge is still attached, so we're going to have to take that out first. So you can see the brass fitting in there. That is the oil pressure gauge. So I'll put you guys right there. Let's see if we can get this out of here. You guys focused? Focused? Get him out of there. We're going to lose a little oil when that comes out. Can I get it to spin? Yep, spinning the hose. Okay. I want to get my oil sending unit, which you can see I already tightened. Tighten that on. I feel like you guys aren't focused. Oh, there it focuses. Yep, so you can see we got that tightened on. Let's see if I can find you guys a flashlight here real quick. There we go, that might be a little bit better. Now that I got all the possible shit that I could get in the way, let's continue. Okay, here we go. We'll keep threading this out. Thread, thread, thread. There it is. Oh, we're not leaking, so I'm going to throw this on the bench. Alright, now, let me see if I can get this in here with the light still shining. Start. There, tuck. Thread her on. Now, like I said, when I put that in the vise and I held that piece so I could tighten it up, I didn't go hog wild and tighten that fitting up, or tighten that into the vise really hard. I mean, it is just brass. Brass is a soft metal, and you don't want to round it off. So that's what we did. you just gently snugged it in there and tighten it up. Okay, I'm gonna have to move you guys because you're right where I want to put my wrench. So hold tight and I'm gonna get you in a better position. Okay, we got you flip-flopped in there a little bit, but now I can get on here. So now we're gonna tighten this up. Now this is where I said if I didn't tighten that into that brass fitting, it would all tighten itself in. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean, you'd kind of you'd see it happen when it happens, but I'm sure a lot of you understand what I was trying to say there. So we're gonna tighten him up in there, and because it is soft, obviously we're not gonna go hog wild when we put this in here either. We got Teflon tape on there, it's gonna help seal it. And it is brass. So I can't believe it's almost Christmas now. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas it goes real fast. Then we got New Year's. And then we got that long stretch between New Year's and spring. Probably my least favorite time of the year. I am kind of a spring and summer person, so it would be difficult. But I am going on vacation in beginning of March, so we'll get to some warm tropical weather then, be able to enjoy that. So I'm pretty excited about that. But this winter will be my first full winter where I'm not working outside, working in a shop. So pretty excited about that. I think it'll make winter a little bit easier to bear because of that. I think we are about as tight as I want to take this. There it is. I'm happy with that. So that is in. Now you can see. Oh, now we got to bracket it. Oh, there we go. There you guys. You can see. Here's the wire. Let's see how well that goes on. It's got some bite on it, so we know that's good connection. And lastly, my vacuum advance on the distributor. We'll put that back on. I took that off just for the sake of you guys being able to see what I'm doing. Alright, I'm going to bring you over. We're going to start this up and we'll look at the oil pressure gauge and see if we fixed it. Alright, here we go. We're going to start her up and see what we get. Well, that is not what I expected. Something's telling me that that oil pressure gauge test set that I got was wrong. It's showing a little bit more than it did when it was cold. But it's not no 50 PSI like that gauge listed. So I really didn't want to do this because it's cold outside and I didn't want to open up the garage. But I'm going to open up the garage door. I'm going to get this up to temperature and I want to see what it is back at temperature again. Hey, I'll bring you guys right back. Alright, we got it up to temperature. Been a minute or two or a couple minutes here. And we're still, I mean, I was seeing 25 to 30 psi, and at operating temperature I'm at 20 psi. Not what I saw on the pressure gauge or the test gauge, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy with 20 psi. I'm going to do a little bit of research and see maybe if it's the gauge or if it's the test gauge that I got. But I'm going to do a little research and see what I find. But I'm more comfortable at that 20 psi when I would be at operating temperature. Before, I was seeing 0 when I was warm, and I started at 20. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to shut off the Jeep, and I think we're going to be good with this for the time being. So in conclusion, I feel like there's something wrong with this original sending unit. Probably when it filled up with oil, the conductivity between the electronics in here and the actual ground itself, I think, is where it lost oil pressure on the gauge. So I do feel that this is a culprit of some of it. Without any research or testing or anything, just off the top of my head, I think that oil pressure testing gauge that I got, which I just recently purchased, is reading wrong. I'm going to verify that, but if that's the case, that is going to get returned, because if you cannot trust your test equipment, that is not a good thing. So I'm going to check that with another pressure gauge or something that I know the oil pressure on. So I do have the receipt for that, so that might possibly get returned. If that's not the case, then it might most likely be the gauge. But with everything said and done, I am happy. I know that there is pressure there when it gets warm, and it's fairly decent oil pressure when it's warm. Nothing that I got to be concerned about. So I do feel good about that. So we are not going to be doing a rebuild this winter. So we're going to be doing some other projects. Thanks to you guys for all tuning in. Feel free to comment and subscribe. And here's till next time.